Now about energy, matter, and cycles. Energy and matter characterize both physical and biological systems. This means that energy and matter can change forms but cannot be created or destroyed. Energy and matter are often cycled within a system, and different forms of matter and energy are able to interact. The surrounding environment must be considered when studying a system's energy and matter to examine flow into and out of a system. Energy is defined by physicists as the capacity to do work. Energy is found on our planet in a variety of forms, some of which are immediately useful to do work, while others require a process of transformation. The sun is the primary energy source in our lives. Besides, fossil fuels such as coal, petroleum products, water, and nuclear power plants are sources of energy. We will now discuss what renewable energy is and where does it come from. We all think we know, and some of us may even be able to name some of the most prominent sources of renewable energy. But do we really understand the purpose of each type, such as how and where it is used, how much energy it can generate, or its wider economic or benefits? Here, we attempt to cut through the fog and give a clear and decisive summary of the information presently available in renewable energy and associated technologies. Put simply, renewable energies are those generated from sources that do not have a finite end, or those that can be recycled, typically from natural sources like solar power, wind power, and water power. These are the examples that we think about most when we hear the term renewable energy, but they are not the only sources. We use energy every day of our lives. Our electronic devices require electricity for power. Our street lights needs the same for lighting. Our vehicles require gasoline and diesel. We fuel our homes with domestic oil, propane or electricity from a national or local grid for lighting, heating, and for powering our devices. The places we work use computers, phone networks, security systems, and servers, as do our shopping malls, parking lots, sports stadiums, cars, airplanes, and so on. All of these things require power from fuel. Now let's discuss what are the types of renewable energy. Renewable are by definition unlimited, but it is important to note that not all forms are environmental friendly. Here, we'll look at some of the most common types of renewable energy. Let's first discuss about hydroelectricity. Using water's motion power to generate electricity is not a new concept. It has been doing so for around 100 years, and most countries have some form of water-generated electricity source. There are two basic forms of using water for green energy needs. Hydroelectricity is produced by processing and controlling the flow of water through a dam. This is one of the most encouraging forms of renewable energy. Now let's talk about solar. Like wind power, the sun provides a tremendous resource for generating clean and sustainable electricity. The environmental impacts associated with solar power can include land use and habitat loss, water use, and the use of hazardous materials and manufacturing, though the types of impacts vary greatly depending on the scale of the system and the technology used. Let's discuss now the wind power. Wind power generates electricity without toxic pollution or global warming emissions, but it does have some environmental impacts that should be recognized and mitigated. Harnessing power from the wind is one of the cleanest and most sustainable ways to generate electricity as it produces no toxic pollution or global warming emissions. Wind is also abundant, inexhaustible, and affordable, which makes it a viable and logical alternative to fossil fuels. Despite its vast potential, there are a variety of environmental impacts associated with wind power generation that should be recognized and mitigated. They include land use issues and challenges to wildlife and habitat. Now, let's discuss geothermal energy. Geothermal energy is the energy stored within the earth. Geo for earth and thermal for heat. Geothermal energy starts with hot, molten rock called magma deep inside the earth, which surfaces at some parts of the earth's crust. The heat rising from the magma warms the underground pools of water known as geothermal reservoir. If there is an opening, hot underground water comes to the surface and forms hot springs, or it may boil to form geysers. With modern technology, wells are drilled deep down the surface of the earth to tap into geothermal reservoir. This is called direct use of geothermal energy, and it provides a steady stream of hot water that is pumped to the earth's surface. Let's discuss now the biofuel and biomass. Biofuel is the production of the types of fuel we use in our vehicles, though normally and typical diesel, from plants or other organic matter rather than from the fossil fuels extracted from the ground. Biomass is different from biofuel in that it is waste organic material such as wood and other plant matter, and not a derivative byproduct that results from processing. Biomass is chopped wood, grasses, leaves, brush and scrub, and other raw organic material that may burn and produce energy, including manure and animal dung. Now let's discuss about matter. Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. People, atoms, cars, water molecules, cells, and calcium atoms are some of the examples of matter. Matter can change forms in two ways: the physical change and chemical change. Physical change is a change from one physical state to another. The example of physical change is the evaporation of water to create water vapor. There is no change in chemical composition. Chemical change is involved through arrangements of atoms and the molecules during a chemical reaction. For example, the burning of coal involves chemical and physical change. The solid carbon of the coal combines with gaseous oxygen to produce gaseous carbon dioxide and water vapor. The energy lock up and the coal is released as heat. Now let's tackle about the environmental cycles. Environmental cycles are the carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, phosphorus cycle, and water cycle. The carbon cycle includes the uptake of carbon dioxide by plants through its ingestion by animals and its release to the atmosphere through respiration and decay of organic materials. Human activities like the burning of fossil fuels contribute to the release of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. The nitrogen cycle involves the uptake of nitrogen from the atmosphere by a process called fixation, which is carried out by microbes or industrial processes. Decomposition of biological waste by microbes can return nitrogen to the atmosphere. Nitrogen is mainly used by humans as a fertilizer in farmlands, but its excessive usage can lead to serious problems such as eutrophication. The phosphorus cycles involves the uptake of phosphorus by organisms. The phosphorus in the environment is mainly found in rocks, and natural weathering processes can make it available to biological systems. After decomposition of biological waste, it can accumulate in large amount in soils and sediments. Phosphorus is used by humans as a fertilizer in farmlands and in detergents. The overuse of phosphorus can lead to eutrophication. The water cycle is the process by which water travels as sequence from the air, condensation, to the earth, precipitation, and returns to the atmosphere, evaporation. It is also referred to as the hydrologic cycle. For example, human use of water can transform the water cycle through irrigation or the construction of dams.